Okay, so what we've just kind of been discussing with expansionary fiscal policy is really what we would call discretionary policy, meaning it's something that the government is actively changing. So if I want to change spending or taxes, the government really has to pass a law in order to make that happen. So that is discretionary. They're deciding we're going to make this change. Now, there's actually some parts built into the current structures of our government that would act as sort of a countercyclical macroeconomic policy. These things are called automatic stabilizers. So, what is an automatic stabilizer? Is a change in the government spending and or taxes that happens automatically, right? Or is built into the current laws and acts as a stabilizer for the macroeconomy. So it's really something that is going to change. It's going to be an increase in spending or a decrease in taxes that happens automatically in a recession, for example. And so what are these things exactly? What are some examples? Well, a great example, and one that's been important recently, is unemployment benefits. And so unemployment benefits are just that. They're benefits you get while you're unemployed. So if I lose my job, and obviously you lose the income that comes with that job, you can apply for and receive unemployment insurance benefits, which is a weekly check that replaces some of your lost income. And so obviously in a recession, unemployment goes up. That's going to increase the amount of unemployment benefits being paid. And so this works very similarly to a decrease in taxes, for example, right? So what I'm trying to do here is to increase consumption and therefore increase labor demand, right? Or at least cause it not to decrease as much as it might if we didn't have these benefits. So if I'm able to replace some of the lost income, the impact of the increase in unemployment is perhaps much less than if it wasn't. So remember before, in the previous chapter, we talked about these multipliers, that when unemployment increases, you have a decrease in spending, and that further decreases labor demand, right? So the initial decrease in labor demand can become larger as people lose income, and unemployment benefits go up automatically in a recession, or at least more people are receiving them. The government is spending more on these things. And that acts to kind of increase labor demand or reduce the effect of the decrease in labor demand. And so, it's a very interesting topic. And so there's been a big increase in unemployment benefits. So some of it was automatic, meaning if I became unemployed, and a lot more people became unemployed, so there's 35 million people have claimed unemployment benefits since the start of this pandemic. And so just regularly you're going to see an increase in spending on these things, right? And then in addition to that, there was a discretionary component that the government also increased the amount of money that you would receive. So the federal government is also paying you $600 on top of what you would normally make per week with unemployment benefits. So one thing that, just to mention, that I think is interesting is that the unemployment benefits it really is actually insurance. So I want to kind of contrast this with, let's say, other types of welfare, which are another example of an automatic stabilizer. So SNAP benefits, which is what used to be called food stamps is a nutritional program. So it's a payment that you get that allows you to buy food. And so that is what we would call a welfare program, in the sense that it's really just a transfer, right? So you don't have to be working necessarily or anything like that in order to receive SNAP benefits. Unemployment benefits, it's actually technically insurance in the same way your health insurance is insurance. So when you go to work and you work for your employer has to pay taxes that finance the unemployment insurance benefits. So it's a system that is paid for by taxes that you're effectively paying by working. So you don't pay them directly, but you pay them indirectly via your firm. And so it's like you pay an insurance premium every month. And then if you do become unemployed, you can collect or claim unemployment benefits. And it's very similar in that sense to health insurance, which makes it a little bit different from typical welfare programs like SNAP. But at any rate, SNAP is another great example of an automatic stabilizer. So as people lose their jobs and incomes, the number of people that would collect benefits from a program like SNAP is going to increase in a recession, and that's going to help reduce the impact of that recession. So these are automatic stabilizers, things that move around automatically in recessions and expansions that increase and decrease government spending and taxes accordingly.